Hey players, this is Friaza, and today I am going to do a scripting tutorial before the first one. What I'm trying to do is make an even more basic tutorial than the .touched one. I covered like basics in the touched, but I want to make a video specifically for the basics of basics before getting into functions, and then redo the .touched one as my volume and quality in the video are really low. So further ado, let's get on with this. To get into this studio interface thing, you'll want to open up ROBLOX Studio 2013 and then go into build mode. Don't go into edit mode because, well, it's easier to test things in build mode for me anyway. You can still go do tools, test solo and stuff, but aside from that, once you're in this interface, you can click View Properties, View Explorer, and View Output if you want, but I'll leave that till later for now. I'll be covering the basics right now, so let's get on with this. The main thing that I feel I should cover is if you go into Insert Basic Objects here after clicking on something, you'll get a list of items that relate to whatever you clicked. It's actually really good the way they did this now. Before you'd have to go in and out of it constantly, but because it's always up here now, it means that you can click on different things and get loads of different pop-ups. Before you click on something wrong, go damn, it doesn't have explosion in this, so I need to go into yourself and then click on your left arm to get the explosion, but now you don't need to close that, so it's a lot more efficient now. So if you're looking for explosion and it doesn't show up when you click this, you can just click on a part and it will show up. But yeah, that's annoying. I wish it would just show the full list, but it's more efficient if it only shows what relates to the object you're clicking in, so I guess it's better in the long run. So the main ones I use, let's see, I'm going to need to go back to a part here. Fire, which is here, whoops, double click, I don't know, I'm so used to double clicking. Force field is a good one. Body velocity, sparkles, screen GUI, and then text buttons. I also use int values and string values and all that a lot for stuff like data persistence and you know, like leaderboard, KOs, and then shove that in there and put it in the player, and you've got a wee KO leaderboard. But yeah, so it's really handy, and this isn't related to, well, this is related to scripting, but it isn't scripting itself. So now I will go on to the actual scripting part. So let's go into workspace here and insert basic objects and press the letter S after clicking here until you get script, or actually just type script and it will go to script itself as long as you type at a reasonable pace, and it will open up the script here in workspace. It's named script, we'll leave it as script now since it's not really an ambiguous name, so there's only one script. But yeah, these things that we've been inserting are called instances, and I'm not sure if it's the basic of basics, but I might as well cover that now since you're on the root of that. If you want to insert an instance, like a force field, fire, whatnot, it's just kind of simple. All you need to do is go instance. I like to tag them. Let's tag them in case we want to name them later. So let's see, F, we'll call it F equals instance.new, which is a new instance, and then fire. And what this will do is it will insert an instance of fire. It's simple as that. These are instances, which are called basic objects here, but we're calling them instances as they're all known as instances. And then we're inserting fire, but this won't appear anywhere. You can disable and enable the script to run it, or just put it back into workspace, cut and paste it, whatever you'll prefer. To parent instance, we can do f.parent equals workspace, or whatever, or workspace.part. You're wondering what these dots stand for. These go up and down parents. If you don't know what a parent is, then I'll explain. Parents is, let's say like the game itself is actually called game, which is above everything, and then you've got folders like you've got your workspace, like game.workspace. What other folders do we have here? We've got players, lighting, starter GUI, lighting, like so. And yeah, so all these are in-game bits, ignore that. You can just start from workspace with these lines. So a child, we'll start with child. A child is something inside something, below it in the hierarchy. So all of these, terrain, script, instance, which is your camera, the model of your player, character, the base plates, all the parts here, they are children of workspace, and workspace is the parent of all these. So that's what parent and children are, and these dots signify going up and down the hierarchy. So you could go like this: part equals workspace dots base. No, actually that's kind of ambiguous, so I'll call it the base plate. And what this does is it gives this workspace.base a name so that you can refer to it later. This itself isn't anything, it's just a name that we're giving this. So we do this equals this. It's like if you see somebody called Bob and you're like, you know, I don't like your name Bob, I'm going to call you the base plate. So from now on you'll call Bob the base plate. And he's like, but I don't want to be called the base plate. Well, tough luck Bob, we're the scripters and you are an inanimate object, so we get to name you the base plate if we want. And that means that later on throughout the script we can call it the base plate. So yeah, for now we can call it the base plate, like the base plate dot. And these dots don't always signify the hierarchy of children and parents. What they can also mean is the children of the actual properties of the object. So when we're clicking in base, the children also includes these properties in appearance, data, behavior, part, surface inputs, surface. For beginners, I would recommend just messing around with appearance. So let's say we want to name workspace.base, workspace.base is named the base plate, so let's say we want to change the transparency of workspace.base to 1. We can just say the base plate, because that's its name, dot transparency equals 0.5. And we'll know we're talking about workspace.base because we tagged it earlier. This is called a tag. It's like a nickname for inanimate objects in the Explorer. And yeah, but that's off topic. Now that I've explained what parents and children are, I can get back to this. So yeah, this will parent it. But to not get into this bad habit of like 2-line parenting, let's go back a step. You might want to practice that first, I don't know. I only learned that like about a year after learning the script, because it's handy in script builders doing it all in one line. But after the bracket here, in the end bracket of fire, you can put a comma, space, and then the parents. These are called arguments. It's when you have like a wee set of brackets here, often in a function and whatnot, which I'll go into later in another video. The first argument here is what you're inserting from the basic objects, instance.newFire. So that's the first argument. And then the second argument is where do you want it to go. So we want it to go into workspace, so we can just type workspace. So yeah, I'd mess around with it a little bit. If you're wondering why you don't get this first time round, it's nobody does, don't worry about it. I followed a set of tutorials about 30 times before I even got it, maybe an exaggeration, but either way I did it like at least twice a day for 2 weeks, and then I finally started to grasp basic scripting, so don't be too hard on yourself. Once you learn like the basics though, you can do anything everything suddenly becomes like easy. You can make a wooden door that you can walk through, insert fire, and then start messing in with humanoid damage, and then learn functions and such. So everyone learns slowly when it comes to like first getting into scripting, but all scripting languages and programming languages are kind of similar. So once you learn one, you can learn them all. So just take it step by step. So yeah, we want to parent it into a part though, because its fire isn't made to like go into like, workspace or not. Well, it will go into workspace, but it won't show up anywhere. So we can store it in a workspace, but if we actually want it to physically appear, we need to put it onto a part, which is a matter. So we will put it in base, since it's not ambiguous. Ambiguous meaning there's several parts. So if we called it workspace.part, it would go, I don't know what part I want to put it in, so just put it in like a random part, or the top one here probably. So just to show that this works, let's disable and enable the script. And here we've got fire inside our base plate. Before you actually start scripting, it would be an idea to like mess around with the properties physically yourself, because if you don't know how it actually works, it's going to be hard to script. So you should get a feel for how things actually work. Like if you change the size of fire to 20, it gets big. If you change the secondary colour, it kind of changes the colour. And if you change the first colour here, which is just called colour, it gets brighter and stuff. But and also I bumped enable off there, so this turns fire on and off. So if you want to have like an attack maybe, which would cover your arm, you can just keep the fire in your arm at all times and only enable it, or turn enable to true, which I'll go into later. When you want an attack to go on, which is what I did a lot in my old Naruto game. Anyway, now I will. I've covered assigning names with tags and instances, so let's go on to numbers, maths, and booleans. Let's start with booleans. Boolean is when you tag something is like true or false. It's often called a bool. Boolean's the full name. So a boolean is a true or false value. These can be physical. If you like go into insert basic objects, there is well, I can't see here, but there's a bool value which is a true or false feature. But I guess a good way to cover it is the script itself, which I should also cover. This is called script. I'm going to change its name to Bob. The script is called Bob now. In the behaviour here at the bottom right, it says disabled, which is off because there's no wee tick in it. The green tick means it's true, and if it's an empty box, it means it's false. So let's say we want the script to be disabled so it cannot run. We can call, whenever you're typing in a script, the script calls itself script. So when you want to refer to the script itself, instead you just put script. And this fits in with hierarchy too, so you could do script.parents, and or if there's something inside the script, like let's say fire is inside the script, like fire is inside the script name Bob, you can type script.fire, and once again the hierarchy includes the properties here. So after script you can put disabled equals true. Remember that in the properties here in the behavior section, you don't need to type script.behavior.true. Just ignore these, like these bold things don't matter. They're just it just makes it more organized for us. It doesn't do anything, and you don't need to like type script.data.disabled and whatnot, or script.data.classname or script.behavior.disabled. Just type script.disabled or script.archivable. Yeah. Script.archivable equals false, but let's not do that one because that will mean we can't edit the script with well, it's kind of complicated. And if it's like, if in the properties here, if things are like kind of faded out, that means that it can be edited and it's only for reference. Like if you wanted to check that something's class name was a part like this, you can use this information of class name in data to tell what it is, but you can't change its class name because that would be impossible. This is a part, it has to be a part. You can't change a part to a fire or something, so it's essential that it has to be a part. So yeah, disable, like this is just true or false, and this also, tagging is also helpful in this case because you can also tag true or false. Like for instance, if you wanted to make a script and you needed to like keep track of like variables that for your own use in the script which don't have any physical matter, you could type penguin equals true, penguin equals false. If penguin is equal to true, then penguin equals, yeah, whatever. Like this, the script doesn't do anything, but you get the drift, don't you? So what else is simple? Yeah, maths. Let's go over maths first. We'll do tagging here too. So let's say we wanted to do maths in our script. We could do stuff like this: number equals 1, number speeds equal. Actually, let's do it more something you'll understand better. Damage equals 20. Speed. No, actually, attack and defense is good. Attack equals 80. Defense equals 120. Damage equals defense minus attack. Don't take this too seriously because if you mess up like with this, it would create like negative damage or something. Yeah. If damage is less than 0, then damage. I'm getting too into this, sorry. But yeah, this is doing maths basically. You've tagged at 80. 80 is attack and 120 is defense. So you're giving these values, and what this is doing is it's tagging damage is the result of this equation. So what this does is when it tags it, it checks what these are. So it's like, okay, what's defense and what's attack? And this wee minus thing is it subtracts it. You could also do plus, which would add it on, and 120 plus 80 is 200. So that would make the damage equal defense plus attack, which would be 200. But for minus here, that would subtract the attack from the defense, making it yeah, the answer to that. Anyway, I've wasted too much time on this subject, so what else should I cover? Oh yeah, strings, that's very essential. Strings is like when you, I'll just demonstrate first. Like this. What this does is it tags text, and a string is basically when you have something in brackets like this. Like in Workspace, we'll insert hint or message. Yeah, let's insert a message. I think you already have one in your game, but when you first join, for some reason nowadays. So that's handy. And we can use a string here, like let's say we want a message to appear, we can put message equals, you can put m equals workspace dot message, which will tag workspace dot message as m, and then if we want to change the message as text, we can just put m dot text equals hello people of the server, and this is a string. A string is a series of text starting and ending with brackets, which can also get more complicated. Like this is probably more advanced, but I'm going to cover it anyway. You can choose whether or not to like try and learn this part. Number equals 5. Number won't put that in. I like the number, and then we end it here with a wee space, because this will start directly after this, so if you don't put a space, the result of number will be 5, so it'll be I like number 5 with no space. So what this does is it ends the string here, but if you put a space and then 2 full stops, what this will do is it will continue the string, and then this variable, it will show the variable, which is 5, the int here, the integer, which is a number. God, this is way too complicated, isn't it? Well, yeah, so, and then we can continue the string with like this, another sequence of dots after a space. The space is just so that it knows when to end and start it, and then we can continue the string. Do you? And what this will do is it will say the text. Well, it will change the text of m, which is workspace.message, to I like the number. Then it will check what the number is, which is 5. So it will say I like the number 5. Then it will continue the string here, with the brackets, and then it will say do you. Wait 5. What this does is wait's very important. What a wait is it's a delay in events. Wait is like this. It's just the word wait and then an open bracket and a close bracket, which I can get in my keyboard by holding shift and pressing the 9 and 0 keys at the top of the keyboard above the O and the P letters. You try that. And then inside the brackets you type how many seconds you want the delay in the script to be. I want it to be 5 seconds, so this will create a 5-second delay, and then I can continue it here with m dot text equals open bracket close bracket, which will set it to nothing, so that will erase it. I'm probably making this sound overcomplicated, but this is more advanced, so just focus on like this now. Like, don't bother with any like string concatenation, or whatever it's called, concatenation. Concatenation, I think. It's not that important. And we can open output here to see errors. Ignore this stuff. It's, I like the number 5, do you? And it shows it perfectly. But don't get discouraged if you don't understand that the first 5 times. Yeah, it isn't that easy, but focus on stuff like this now. Don't worry yourself about complicated things. Like, just try making like text say something. Actually, even that itself is too complicated. You can just print it. By print, I mean make it show up in this wee output down here after you've went view output to open the output window. Sorry if I'm rushing this. It's just I want to cover this in less than like an hour, so that you can like watch it multiple times to get the drift of it. Print, and then what this will do is it will print whatever you put in here, whether it's a string or like number equals 5. You could print 5 and it will show up 5. See, 5 is showing up at the bottom here, and you can also use strings in this manner. Hello world, so try printing hello world like this by typing print open bracket close bracket and then putting hello world with yeah, I'm sure you already know how to type that, so what else to cover? 1 second, we'll need to think about this. Back. Okay, we're going to cover if statements and loops last. An if statement is a conditional, basically like the events of something will only happen if certain conditions are met, like number equals 5. We'll do a loop and then an if statement, then I'll cover them both. So number equals 5, and then we'll put for number count equals 1, no, number equals 0, yeah, do and wait again, which will create a delay. The minimum delay, since this isn't a local script, if it was a local script, which is just like a localized script, it would refer to your default LU wait time, but the default was like 0.029 seconds or something like that. But I like 0.05 because it's 1/20th of a second. This will run 5 times in like 2.5 0.25 seconds ish. Sorry, I can't think straight when I'm recording. So yeah, we'll increase number by 1. I'm so tempted, I won't go into that, but because of other programming languages, there's often simpler ways to type this, but for this you need to say number equals number plus 1, which will mean 0 equals 0 plus 1, which is like maths. It's the same as like doing this. So don't get too confused by this. It's just like 0 equals 0 plus 1, which is like basics of basics. So what this does is it names our loop number count. Don't worry about the name of this. This doesn't matter. Even if you called it like this, it wouldn't matter because you're not referring to it in this loop. But for now we'll call it number count, but this isn't important. You can call your loop whatever you want. And this for, I won't go into like every single word, but basically that's what this does, is it says for this loop name equals 1 to 5 2, which all it does is it names this wee bit of code here, number count, and repeats it 5 times. So what it will do is it will keep increasing number by 1 until it's 5. But not specifically. It could keep going. If we make it 10, it won't stop if it's 5. It will just keep going till it's like 10. So let's say we want number to be 5, but this loop runs 10 times. Number equals number plus 1 if number is equal to, no, is not equal to 5, then let's probably go over this quickly. Equals means is equal to, and then shift in the button at the top left of your keyboard under escape gives you this wee squiggly line, and then you put equal. This means is not equal to, so just think like this. This is equals, this is equal to, and this is not equal to. Think of it as if it's like 3 words in a different language. Is not equal, equal, equal to. So it's just equal, equal, equal to, not, not. This is like a not, and this above another equal is just 2. So yeah, equal is equal to is not equal to. Like you can put number as 5, so this is like number equals 0, but you can't put number as equal, you can't put this as not equal 0, it just doesn't make sense. So it's like number equals 0, but in this situation you want to check if number is not equal to 5 or number is equal to 5, then you can do your code. So it's useful in these situations. It's easy to get mixed up, just practice with it a little until you get the hang of it. If number is not equal to, well, another one is, God, this is going to be a long tutorial. Less than, greater than, so yeah. So what this is when you have, I'll just draw this again. This is equal to, equal, is equal to, is not equal to, is less than or equal to, is greater than or equal to. This is separate, don't worry about this. So yeah, these are the 4 things you generally use when you're doing this. You want to check if it's below 5 or equal to it, so that it will check if the numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5. But you also have less than or greater than, which can be used. And this will keep going if it's less than 5, so if it's 5 it won't do this, but if it's less than 5, if it's 1, 2, 3 or 4 it will run, but if it's 5 it won't run. if you put is less than or equal to, it would run even if it was 5. So we don't want it to run if it's 5, because then it would go up to 6. So if number is less than 5, then number plus 1. And now we have what's called an else. This is an if statement, but we can also have an else if number is greater than or equal to 5, then break. And what break does is it stops a loop so that it won't keep running. That's its only purpose really. So what we have here is a loop that repeats 10 times and number, which is 0. If number is less than 5, then the number will keep increasing with a delay of 0.05 seconds. But if the number is equal to or greater than or equal to 5, then it will break the loop. What you can also do is just put else by itself, but this is like else. You don't need to specify for else, you can just put else, but that means that if anything other than this happens, this will activate, which you don't want to do, so it's good to get into the habit of being very specific about what you do. So yeah, it will take a while to get your head around this, but we'll also want to like check our script with this. Print number, and we'll want to put this before it so that we'll see if it's 0 as well. And then before it breaks, we'll say print finished counting. And then I'll put this above this, and it will show us the last 5 there. And let's run this bit of code, disable and undisable. And what it will say here in a 0.05 second delay of each count, it will say 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, finished counting, which means our code has worked. And this is a combination of loops and if statements, so let's separate this. A loop is like for something equals 1, then do, or potato equals 1, sandwich equals 15. You can even tag these, and that's basically a loop. Like for something equals potato sandwich, or like 0, no, 1 to 10. There's also a third argument you can put here, but I won't go into that. You can look that up later if you want. I never use it. And it will run 10 times, but I highly recommend putting a wait here. And that's not the only type of loop. You also have other loops like while, wait, do, or like this allows you to put a condition. If potato is equal to 1, do, wait. And this is a conditional loop. While potato is equal to 1, do it, then it will run this code. If potato is 0, it won't work. So I don't really use this often. It's also scary to use because if you don't put a wait in it properly, it can crash your game. So be very careful while using this, and a while do loop. Make sure you know your conditions, what you're doing, your delays. Yeah, I won't go too much into that. It's definitely worth a look in the wiki though, the Roblox Lua wiki, if you want to research more about those. Well, thanks for watching. There's also like other types of loops, like repeat loops and such, which you should check out if you want, which repeats until something is met. But I mostly use like for do and while do and such loops.